Yo, what is up, everybody? It is Arthur Media Sizen here, back at it again with part 2 of What If Naruto Had Revenant's Powers. But without further ado, guys, let's get straight into this What If. So, we basically resume this What If after the time skip. So basically, Naruto would spend the next 3 years just training and enhancing some of his abilities so he can get stronger and better. So pretty much what would happen is after he would come back from his training trip, he would pretty much come back looking better. What would happen is he would have the scythe with him. Now you're like, well, where did you get this idea from? It's from Apex itself. Revenant has a heirloom. If you get 150 heirloom shards, you get his scythe. So I'm giving Naruto this scythe, and I thought it would be kind of poggers. So pretty much, Naruto would come back to the village after training, and he would head inside before reporting to the Hokage. Now the Hokage would basically just give him his Anbu assignment, since Naruto isn't really part of Team 7 anymore. So but he'll be going on the same missions and stuff like that since he is Anbu. So pretty much, Naruto would be given a few assassination missions, just something is pretty easy. So the mission was he was going to the Land of the Waves again to basically kill the people who were having the Zabuza sword. So yeah, Naruto would pretty much go on his way out, and he would make it to the Land of the Waves. So once he would get there, be walking around looking at the bridge. People would see him and recognize him as Naruto, and they would start welcoming him. But Naruto wasn't really interested in that. So he would look around and he would see that one house, and he would just walk in, and pretty much maybe 500 600 mob members or soldiers would just start coming at him nowhere and unsheathing their weapons. So Naruto would pretty much materialize his scythe and just start fucking their shit up. So he would pretty much run towards one, infuse his tactical ability into his scythe before throwing it through his chest, and that scythe would pretty much go through maybe 20 other people before he would hold his hand out and it would call it back, before him calling it back would take out another 5 or 10 people in the process. And so he would then grip it, and he would put as much chakra as he can into the scythe before pretty much doing a kind of a Getsuga, a fake version of the Getsuga Tensho. He would swing it horizontally, and there'd be a huge a energy wave attack, and they would pretty much hit them, taking them all out. So then Naruto would basically walk around seeing if there's any survivors before pretty much ending their life. So Naruto would put away his scythe and pretty much get out his small knife, and he would pretty much walk through the stealthily walk through the buildings, or run, whatever you want to say, and he would be hanging onto the wall. And once you would get into that main room where the executioner blade is, he would then pretty much see 2 people, and they were just watching the executioner blade, just examining how good it looked and stuff like that. So Naruto would just drop down and basically slit their throats before getting the blade, and pretty much he would take it to the mist. If you're wondering, well, why would he take it to the mist? He wants the money. You get probably around $250 million. I don't know about Ryu, but just for bringing one of the blades. So if you bring all 7, you'll be quite rich. So Naruto would pretty much get the money from the mist, and he would head back to the Leaf Village. Now once he would head back to the Leaf Village, he would be there would be an SOS that the first Jinchuriki Gaara has been kidnapped. Now Naruto and Sasuke and Kakashi and Sakura would head out. So basically they're kind of like Team 7, but Naruto's literally not on Team 7, so it would just be those 4. So Naruto and the rest of the team would be running through the forest until they would pretty much meet up with Itachi. So Sasuke would go first, since he would start fighting Itachi, but Naruto would appear behind him, swiping the scythe, but Naruto would get kind of caught in the Genjutsu. I mean, almost everyone did, so. But he would easily break out of it. It's not hard. He just used his tactical, cancel the Genjutsu. So Naruto would kind of get annoyed of these tricks, and he would pretty much like touch the ground, and he would send his tactical like through the ground, like kind of like in a 180 degree, or like I think it's 270, but I'm not sure. So it would go under, and it would go right below Itachi before pretty much canceling his chakra, and Sasuke would have gotten a Chidori ready, so he would have impaled Itachi with the Chidori, but then they realized it was a clone, so Sasuke was kind of pissed at that, but it is what it is. So Team Guy would have dealt with Kisame pretty much the same way, so that would have went the same. So after they pretty much deal with Itachi, they would head towards the main village, the Sand Village. So once they would get there, Sakura would save Kankuro, and pretty much that would go the same. It would take her about a day, just like in canon. And after that, they would head towards the cave. Now, once they would pretty much head towards in that general direction, they would be like, they would pretty much sense the chakra coming from the cave. So they would, Naruto or Sakura, whoever had that strength, it was definitely Sakura though. She would have punched open the cave open, and pretty much it would have ran in. But right as they ran in, Gaara would have had his tail beast extracted, and Deidara was already on the run. So Naruto said that he's going after Deidara, and Sasuke would come along, but Kakashi would help to defeat Sasori. So pretty much Naruto and Sasuke would be climbing above those tree branches, and Naruto would kind of like do like a team jutsu, like a double jutsu, I guess you could say. Like he would mix one jutsu with the other, kind of like the Rasen Shuriken and the Blaze Release. So what he would do is Sasuke would get a Kirin. It would kind of take a lot of energy out of him, but he would still use a Kirin, and Naruto would pretty much put his tactical into that Kirin. So it would cancel the bird, and the lightning jutsu would nullify the explosion release, I guess you can say. So pretty much once that would happen, it would fly towards Deidara before pretty much just taking his head off, just whatever mutilation you can think of. So pretty much after that would happen, Naruto would pretty much walk up to Deidara, do like a mind pick up Gaara as well, and pretty much take all the information from Deidara's mind. So he would get more information on where the Akatsuki base is and stuff like that, and he'd be quite happy. He could possibly get all the Akatsuki into the bouncy like book. He would pick it up and get all that money. He'd be rich. So pretty much after that would happen, Naruto would head back to the cave, and they would see Kakashi basically taking down Sasori before also getting information about Orochimaru. But Orochimaru has already been sealed away, so that information would have been useless. So yeah. So pretty much after that event occurs, they would revive Gaara the same way, with Granny Chiyo basically sacrificing her life. Now after that would happen, she would die, and Gaara would make peace with the Hidden Leaf Village before basically Naruto would take a stroll down to the bounty shop, and he would collect the bounty of Deidara and Sasori, getting quite the money, maybe around 500 mil. And he'd be quite rich. He likes the money, he likes killing. It's a good job. So pretty much after that would happen, Naruto would head back with his team to the Leaf Village, and they would pretty much he would help Sasuke and Sakura do their 2-week training, I guess you could say. So in that timeline, after the training, Sasuke would get challenged by Itachi, and he would go to the Uchiha hideout, but Naruto would tag along. He really has nothing else to do. So in that timeline, Kakuzu would have had his entrance, I guess you can say. So yeah, since that event would pretty much go the same. So we'll actually switch to basically Naruto's perspective. They would have pretty much been at the Uchiha hideout, and in this timeline, Kisame would have let Naruto in, under the premises that he doesn't interfere with the fight. So Naruto would be watching from afar on like a pole, I guess you can say. So he'd see the same fight that would go to canon. I mean, Sasuke would have attained some of his techniques a little bit earlier, but it doesn't change the outcome unless he had time to train those techniques or got the Mangekyo. I don't really see him like winning. So Itachi would still tap his forehead, but when this would happen, he would see Obito and this weird white and black guy basically try to take him. But Naruto would just throw his tactical and like it would cancel the Kamui, and he would basically dive down and sucker punch. Why did I say sucker punch? Well, he would punch Obito in the face, sending him flying, and Obito was quite confused how his right eye ability didn't even work. Naruto's punched in the face through him, but then he would like realize that his chakra has been changed, so he can't really use Kamui. So pretty much Naruto would grab Sasuke and head out of there. Now once he would pretty much get back to the Leaf, he would have heard that after taking Sasuke to the hospital, he would have heard that Kakashi has went on the mission and it's kind of going downhill, so they need some help. So Naruto would head towards the area when he was literally sees Kakuzu about to kill Kakashi, so he would dive down, get his scythe out, and basically slice his head off. But the thing is, his head would just go back to his normal body, like it would regurgitate itself, I guess you can say. So pretty much Naruto would out of nowhere kind of just make a Rasengan, but infuses his tactical ability into it, basically slamming it into Kakuzu, basically canceling all of his hearts, and that would have eventually killed him. Like it would cancel it for a few seconds before Naruto would just do his finisher, where he would appear behind him and snap his neck off. So that would have killed him. So for a few seconds he would have went back to his human form. So after this, Naruto would have killed Kakuzu, and Shikamaru would have killed Hidan. So after that event would take place, Naruto would get the bounty from Kakuzu and Hidan, or what's left of Hidan, even though he's still alive, technically, I think. So they would head back to the village, and Naruto would hear that Jiraiya died from basically, fighting the 6 Paths of Pain. And Naruto would have remembered the location from Sasori, so he would have pretty much met up with Sasuke. Sasuke would have the MS, and he would have asked if he's down to go. Sasuke would be like, hell yeah. And he would, they would actually head towards Sasuke would ask, can we do something before we go? And pretty much they would head towards Itachi's dead body, and they would take both of his eyes. So Sasuke would pretty much get the EMS, and then after a few days of him being blind, they would head towards the hideout. So Naruto and Sasuke would head towards the hideout, the Akatsuki hideout, and once they would get in, they would pretty much go in like Assassin's Creed style stealth. So they would be on the walls, using their chakra to glide on the walls. And since Revenant's passive ability helps him climb further, so any of the buildings that were pretty hard to climb were pretty easily achievable due to that passive and his chakra. So he'd be running over the walls when he would see the basically Kisame and the other path of pain, the animal path. So they would basically dive down, and Naruto would slit Kisame's throat, while Sasuke would Amaterasu the other animal path to death. So that would pretty much end that. They would keep going through the hall where they would see Konan, and Sasuke would pretty much put her in a Genjutsu. Since EMS Genjutsus are quite strong, then he'd pretty much kill her. So they would go through and basically kill all the paths of pain until they would meet up with none other than Nagato. So Nagato would pretty much be there, and they would, he's pretty much defenseless. No one's there to defend him. Obito's not there. So basically Sasuke would take both of the Renegans, no cap, after killing him, obviously. And so Sasuke would pretty much, it would be kind of OP, since Sasuke would pretty much give Naruto the Rinnegan. I mean, he didn't really find use to it, since he kind of thinks the Sharingan is stronger, even though it's not. So Naruto would actually pretty much get the Rinnegan. If you guys are wondering, the fuck, what's up with this series? This doesn't sound like what I signed up for. I don't know. I wanted to give Naruto the Rinnegan, since you see, Revenant is pretty good at seeing things. He's pretty good at recon. He's an assassin, obviously. So I was thinking I should give Naruto the Rinnegan. in that symbolism, I guess you can say. So Naruto would get himself the Rinnegan, and he would get all of its abilities and stuff like that, and it would be kind of poggers. And if you guys are wondering why didn't I just give it to Sasuke, it would have been much more OP. He would have gotten the Rinne Sharingan. He would have had it in both eyes. I was just thinking that it just didn't really feel right. He's gonna get it from the Sage of Six Paths anyway, so why not? So basically, Naruto and Sasuke would head towards this five summit Kage Summit. Yeah, I said that right. 5 Kage Summit that's going on right now. Apparently during their extravaganza, I guess I can't say it right, but during their mission, they realized people didn't know they killed all the Akatsuki, so there's only Obito left. So after that, they only have to do with Obito, and then that's it. So pretty much once they would get there, like to the 5 Kage Summit and all, they would pretty much get there, and Obito would be there, and they would be watching from afar as the Kage Summit goes on, and they realize the Akatsuki, they think that the Akatsuki is still alive, other than the Paths of Pain, so they don't know that they're dead or anything. They still think that they're a threat. So Obito would come in the mix, and he would tell them that the Paths of Pain are still dead, are dead, not still dead. And he would tell them that he's waging war over the Hidden Leaf Village and stuff like that, or all of the nations itself. So pretty much Naruto and Sasuke would realize, once he would warp away, in the process of warping away, they would cancel his, Naruto would cancel his abilities. Sasuke would dive in and basically, slice him in the throat, and pretty much Obito would start coughing once the throat would escape from his throat. Once the sword would escape from his throat. Naruto would pretty much then throw down his totem and go into his death protections before he would pretty much infuse his tactical into his sword before kind of doing that Ichigo dive, that final Bankai Ichigo dive, before he would go and split Obito in half. Now, the next few seconds, all the 5 Kage would be on their ass. That's why he put the totem down. So pretty much the Tsuchi Kage, would try to atomize him. So Naruto would look at this and kind of just stand there and let him do it. And once he would do this, they would see no Naruto left, but Naruto would appear behind the Tsuchi Kage and basically smack that bitch right into a wall. So after this, the Raikage would go the second cloak before he would, go to dive, lariat Naruto, and Naruto would just kind of dodge, grab his arm, and basically throw him into a wall, basically sending him through a few walls like behind. So Tsunade wouldn't really do anything, because number one, she can't do anything. He could cancel her ability. She looked like an old hag, so yeah, she knows not to do anything. Gaara's kind of on their side, so yeah, that'd kind of be the end of it. After Obito would die, there'd be no reanimating Madara and stuff like that. All the nations would pretty much get together and sign a peace treaty. Sasuke would become like the Sage of Six Paths, I guess you can say. He would get the Sun Seal and the Moon Seal, and he would get that Rinne Sharingan I was talking about. And pretty much Naruto would just get more OP from there. But yeah, I think this will actually be the end of this What If. I probably should have ended this What If in part 1, kept it a movie special, because I would get more views, but I just wanted to do a part 2. But without further ado, guys, I'm gonna head out. Next series should be What If Naruto Had Wraith's Powers. That should hopefully be a movie special. But without further ado, guys, have a good day.